Okay, hello. So this is the DePaul Web Development Club. This is our third workshop where we're going to be going over GitHub. So we're going to cover today Git basics, local Git workflow, how to work with GitHub, branching, collaboration, and hands-on live coding. We're going to do that at the end. So just like basically what is Git? Just a version control system you can use to track changes in your code over time so that you can like never lose your work. You can see exactly what's happening, what changed, what and at what time. You can collaborate without overwriting each other's code, and you can experiment safely with branches. So like an example is like you have like a team of 20 developers. You're all working on the same project. You want to make sure that you all 20 of you are not like overwriting each other, and that like you can properly add changes and everyone doesn't fall behind. And so then Git versus GitHub is very important because I see a lot of people put this on their resume and their portfolio, saying that they have a GitHub skill. GitHub is not a skill. Git is the skill. Git is the command line tool. It runs locally on your computer and it tracks file changes. GitHub is just like it's like YouTube. It's just a website cloud service. It stores your Git repositories online and it adds collaboration features like issues, pull requests, stuff like that. But you can do everything locally on your computer using the command line tool. You don't need to use GitHub. We're gonna be going over GitHub and we're gonna use it, but um, somebody asks you, do you know version control? Don't say that you know GitHub. Like that's not the skill. Um, it's kind of like a newbie thing to say that you know GitHub. GitHub is like YouTube. It's not the skill. It's Git is the skill. So then just basic installation. Um, just look up Git install. Grab it from there. Um, the more important part is the setup. You have to make sure that you configure your GitHub to use your username and your email, and this is the username and email that you used for your GitHub account. So make sure that this match is 1-to-1. And then here's some basic Git commands that are really, really important. Git init. This is how you start every single project. This initializes. That's what the init stands for. Init stands for initialize. This initializes the Git repo on your local computer. Um, Git status just sees like what's being changed. So like you can run Git status to see like what's the current status of your project, what's being committed, what's in transit, stuff like that. Git add stages the files for your commit, and then git commit actually saves your changes and commits them to the repo. Git log, this is how you view your commit history. This is very important. Because let's say you're working on a project with 20 people and somebody overnight pushes the wrong change and you guys need to figure out who did it, you use git log. Um, Git remote at origin, this is how you connect your Git to your GitHub. So that's very important, obviously. Git push is how you actually push the origin, how you push the main branch to your repo. Git pull is um, you look at a repository and you grab the changes and you put them into your own folder. You always want to be using git pull before you push. We'll talk more about that later. Uh, and then git clone, you copy a repository completely. So the git ignore file, by default, you get a git ignore file that just like ignores certain files. This is really important. Um, Especially the second point, your .env, you do not your .env is where you hold your API keys. If you push your .env, GitHub will literally email you telling you to remove it, or else they'll remove your repo for you. Um, you cannot push your .env file. That is a massive, massive mistake. You cannot do that. That's how you end up jobless. So just make sure that you add proper security measures to your .gitignore file. So then this is just like basic overview of how your workflow is going to look like using GitHub. You're going to create a repository, you're going to clone it to your computer, and then you're going to make changes. You're going to stage the changes, commit the changes, and then you push it to GitHub, and that's it. It's very simple. Um, it sounds simple, and that's because it is simple. It's just a lot of you have to type like 20 different commands in between, which looks really scary, I know, but I promise it's really not that complicated. Okay, and just some basics on branching. So again, I talked about branches earlier, why you want to do them, so that you can work on features without breaking the main code, so that multiple people can work simultaneously. It's easy to experiment with also, because like you can just like work locally, make your own branch, and then work with that. So if you do git branch and then the name of a branch, that creates it. If you do git checkout dash b with the name of a branch, you create the branch and then you automatically switch to it. And then if you do git merge feature name, what it does is grabs the current branch you're on and merges it with the branch name that you just provided with. So you merge the two. Okay, so merge conflicts. I'm not gonna go over merge conflicts in a live coding session because those are annoying. So what they are is Git can't automatically combine changes. Give me a second. Okay, so Git Git cannot automatically combine changes. What happens is it's when the same lines are edited differently. So for example, let's say you give GitHub um, a file that has 100 lines and like the header tag is like DePaul Web Development Workshop number 3. Okay, it accepts it. And then let's say you commit the same file with the same line changes and you rename the file, like you rename the h1 tag to something different. GitHub doesn't know what to overwrite. It doesn't know what to commit. So you get like a merge conflict. So the way you have to fix it is you have to open up each individual file wherever the merge conflict happened, choose which changes to keep, and then you have to remove the markers that are being added, which are really annoying to do. But merge conflicts are not something that happen very often. This only happens in a group of developers who have never used GitHub. So that's the point of this workshop, is to teach you how to use GitHub. And if you know how to use GitHub, you'll never have to deal with a merge conflict, assuming your team does as well. So pull request, this is very industry standard. A pull request, or also known as a PR, it's the way to process changes. You do code reviews and you discussion before merging. So, for example, let's say you work at a company and there's like a massive code base. You cannot just commit the changes to the main branch. That's just not possible. Because like, what if you push the wrong thing and you break everything? So it'll all fall apart. So what you do is you create your own branch, you make the changes, you push the changes to your branch, and then you submit a pull request. And then what happens is either the system administrator at your company or the senior developer will look at it and they'll be like, okay, are these changes good? And this is where they do code reviews. So your senior developer, your sysadmin would sit down with you, they'll catch bugs before they hit the main branch. They'll share knowledge with you, saying like, oh, this is bad coding practice, don't do this. And this helps maintain code quality. And then best practices, committing often is very important. I know a lot of people tell me they're like, oh, I don't want to commit often because like then other people can see it. If you're afraid of a project that's not finished on your GitHub, that's okay. You could just private the repo, which is what I do. Um, Private the repo and commit often. Use branches for new features. That's not important if you're working alone. If you're working with a group of people, obviously this is very very important. You have to do this, but don't worry about using branches if you're working locally on your own. Pull before you push. Yes, as a team, this is very important because like let's say it's 8 a.m. Everyone's shifts are started. We've got 20 developers, and the boss says, "Okay, we want to add this new feature," and everyone starts working on it, and then everyone pushes differently. That's gonna lead to a massive conflict because like we all have different files. So you want to make sure that you always pull before you push, so that everyone is starting at the same level. Write good commit messages. Yeah, present tense, concise. Yes, make sure that you write good messages because like again, when you submit a pull request and you write a commit message, your senior developer is going to be the one who's reading it. So, if you write a bad commit message, you're going to be teased for it. So make sure you write a good one, and then always review code before merging. That's also important. And I know I kind of blazed through it. It's not even been 10 minutes, but that's because the best way to learn GitHub is through practice, through like a live coding session, which is what we're going to be doing really soon. So going over some basic mistakes I see people do a lot is committing huge files. Do not do that. That's just such a bad habit because like what if you want to make one change to that big file? Then it's like it becomes really really annoying. You want to always commit incrementally and very very often. So that's one big thing. Committing sensitive data again. If you're working at a big tech company and you commit your API keys to a public repo, that's how you become jobless. You will be fired almost immediately because you just leaked all the company's info. and that's a very, very bad thing. So don't do that. Working directly on the main branch, this depends. Locally, if you're working on your own, it's okay. Doesn't really matter. If you're working in a team, yes, you definitely should not be working directly on the main branch. That's a horrible idea. Um, Fake commit messages. This matters again. You're going to be writing commit messages that your boss will be reading, so make sure that you actually write the right thing. Uh, Not pulling before pushing, very self-explanatory. You want to make sure that everyone has the same code whenever they commit their changes. Okay, so now we're going to do a live coding session. Okay, so now we're just going to do a live coding session. So this is just to like showcase how to use GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I have VS Code open. I'm going to do Control J to open up my terminal. And then I'm just going to swap terminals real quick. I'm going to use Git Bash. You don't have to use Git Bash. I just prefer to. So we're going to go to my desktop folder. And we're going to make a new folder. So we're going to do student portfolio. cd into it. Okay, then I'm just going to do code. Perfect. Open this back up. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna initialize this repository. So we're gonna do git init. Okay, so you can see initialized empty git repository. We're just gonna do like a basic status. See what's happening. We're on the master branch, and that's true because in the bottom left we see master, so that's where we're at. No commits, nothing committed. That's all good. So now let's actually create a couple files. Let's do a index.html, styles.css. Let's do a readme. Let's add some HTML. Let's add a container, hero. So I should also say this, I'm not using npm or like node modules to run this locally. So what you have to do is you have to install an extension called live server. So this, and then what you want to do is you want to right click here, open with live server, and then I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So let me perfect. So this is what it looks like. So one thing I want to also say, whenever you initialize a project, one thing I always like to do is to grab the fonts I want to use with. So I always go to Google Fonts, and I just go to here, and I grab whatever I want. So I'm going to remove this. Let's browse. A couple of fonts I like to use is like Manrope. This is I really like this one. We're going to get the font, get embed code, import. We do this. And then also, I should say this, whenever you create a file, sometimes the VS Code doesn't know what file it is, like it doesn't know what programming language it is. So we're using CSS. So what we want to do is do Control K M, and then CSS, right there. And then let's do add back the import, and then let's do font, family, Manrope, and then for every font family, you need to add a backup font. So in case Manrope doesn't work, you do sans serif. That's what I do. And should change unless I typed it in wrong. Oh, I didn't link it yet. So link styles. Perfect. Okay, let's add a couple extra things. So let's do an education section. Oh, did not type that right. Let's do H2 education. Let's do IT major, third year IT major with a concentration in web development. Expected graduation June 2026. See what that looks like. Okay. And then let's add one more. Let's do skill section. So we're gonna do h2 skills. Let's do ul.skills list. Let's add a bunch of little elements. A couple more. Let's do HTML. JavaScript, Python, Java, Go, and then Git. Okay, let's do some basic styling. So let's do also box sizing, border box, and then let's do container. Let's do some padding. 2 rem, 4 rem. That's good. And then to do container.hero.h1, and then let's align the entire hero in the center like this. And let's also add some margin bottom. Let's do like 3 rem. Actually, a better practice to do would be make this entire thing a flex container. So display flex, and then we do flex direction column, and then we had a gap. So gap of 3 rem. That's way better. Okay. So education, 30 RT major, expected graduation, looks all good. And then the skills. Whenever you display your skills, you never want to make it like this. You always want to make it go side by side because that's how people read. So what you want to do is, you can see in here, so skills list. So let's do that. .skills list. Display flex. Okay. So now we need to add a gap in between. So there's a couple things we can do. We can either make this skills list stretch the entire container, or we can add a gap. So what I would do, I guess we can do both. So let's do gap 30 pixels. Oops. 30 pixels. We can do like this, or we can do justify content space between. Make it like this. So I prefer the 30 pixels, so I'm just gonna do gap 30 pixels. Okay. Let's actually make it 60. Okay. And then let's remove the dot because that doesn't matter anymore. So list style type none. Perfect. Okay. So that looks good. So now let's also add some more styling to each individual element. So let's do padding 4 pixels, 8 pixels, outline 1 solid, make it dark. Okay. And let's add some border radius. You can see that looks pretty good. Honestly, let's remove the border, make this entire thing black. And then color white. That looks a bit better. Okay. So honestly, good enough for now, just to get started. So we've got 3 files now, index HTML, styles, and a readme. Let's add them now. So we do git add dot. Okay. So you can see this actually changed from U to an A. The U means unchanged, meaning it hasn't been staged yet. So now A stands for added. So then we commit them. Git commit M. Let's do initial commit. Okay. Now we've committed. Let's log this. So we can see author. That's my username. That's my email for the GitHub account. And we can see when it was committed. So if you're on the job and you actually committed something you're not supposed to, you're not gonna get away with it. Because your boss could just type this in and it will show everything that it needs to. So yeah, don't get caught. So let's also go to, so now what you have to do is, we've committed the changes, but now we need to actually connect this to a repository. So what you gotta do is go to your repositories, let's do a new one. Let's just name this uh, student portfolio. Okay, public, add a readme, no, because we already have one. No license, no get ignored, create it. Okay, so now what GitHub is going to tell you is going to tell you everything that that I'm already going to cover. So all you're going to want to do is grab this URL, and I copied it, go over to here, and then what you want to do is git remote add origin, and then the name, the URL. Okay, then you want to get to the main branch, so git branch main, and then you want to push the changes to that branch, so git push u origin main. Perfect. So now we've committed all the changes to the branch, and if we go to our repository, code, and it's all here. The README, this is a testing workshop. Everything worked perfectly. So now let's actually create like an actual like branch. So let's create a branch. Oops. Git checkout b add projects section. So now what this command's gonna do is it's gonna create the new branch and then immediately take me to that branch. So you can see in the bottom left, I'm now in the add project section branch. So now let's actually add some stuff. So let's make an entire new section to do projects. And then let's add a couple of project cards. Let's do projects dash card. Okay. Now let's do I guess let's first add an H2 projects H3 in the project name. I guess let's do student portfolio. I can spell it. H3, this will be, let's just do the latest app I'm working on, MMA scheduler app. And then let's do H3 calculator app. So what does this look like? Okay, projects, these are all our projects. So then another thing you want to do for like if you're running this as the actual portfolio, you want to add your tech stack underneath every app. If a recruiter, like when a recruiter looks over one of your projects and they think it's really cool, you know, it's nice to have good projects, but what if you have a project that uses the tech stack that the company doesn't use? Then it's like it doesn't really matter that much because like you don't have the tools that they're looking for. So it's very important that you include the tech stack because it helps. It actually shows. It's one thing to say that you know Java and all these things, but if you actually have a project that uses them, that's how the recruiter knows that you're not just lying. So let's add a tech stack underneath each one. So let's do ul.project dash skills dash list. Then I'm going to copy this down for everyone. Okay, so student portfolio, this is just two things. It's going to be HTML, CSS, Git, and that's it. The MMA app is kind of a lot. I'm not going to type out everything, but we're going to use Astro, Super CSS, Supabase, PostgreSQL, Vercel, and Go. Calculator app, let's just do JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Git. What does this look like? Okay. And then we honestly just want to recreate this exact thing as the skills, but for each portfolio, or for each project. So to do project skills list, display flex, list style type, none, gap of 20 pixels. What does this look like? Perfect. Let's also move every single one of these down to the left side. So let's do margin left, negative 2.5 rem. Perfect, we moved it back. And then let's do project skills list I. Make it like a light gray. Okay, let me add padding. So padding, 4 pixels, 8 pixels. Font size, 12 pixels. Make these a bit smaller. Trying to see what this would do. Doesn't seem to do anything. Okay. And let's do a border radius, so 4 pixels. Cool. So now when a recruiter goes on the site, they can see, okay, student portfolio, this person used the HTML, CSS, Git for every single one. Cool. Yes, we can also just reduce this a bit. Yeah, perfect. Another thing some recruiters also want to see is how long it took for each project. So let's actually wrap every H3 in a div. So what you're going to want to do is grab this H3, highlight it, do Control-Shift-P, emit wrap with abbreviation, and then do a div. And then you want to do this same thing here. Oops. Did not mean to do that. Okay. You want to do class projects header. And then copy that for every single one. Okay. And then let's do a P tag. That's student portfolio. Let's do 30 minutes. P tag. Let's do 6 months. Calculator app. Let's do 1 week. Okay. And then you can see on here, this is like, it's supposed to be side by side. So let's do projects header, display flex. And now you might see that this is off balance. What you have to do is you have to make sure that the margins are balanced top and bottom. So what you got to do is margin. So the top is auto. So whenever you do margin, it can be like this. So the way you read this is it's like a clock. So top, right, bottom, left. So top and bottom need to be auto. So auto, this is the right, this is the bottom. Auto, auto. So I think we need to specify the P tags. Let's do this. Dot projects header P. Perfect. So now you can see that it's balanced top and bottom, but there's not enough space on the left side. So top, bottom, or sorry, top, right, bottom, left. So we need to add a 1 rem. Let's just do that. It's a bit much. Let's do half a rem. Perfect. So student portfolio, HTML, CSS, Git took us 30 minutes. MMA schedule app 6 months. Calculator app 1 week. So then let's add a description for every single item. Another thing, I guess. Yeah. So let's do p dot project description, and then let's do lorem times 3. Okay, and then let's just copy and paste this down for every single one. Oh, I put this in the wrong section. Oops. It's meant to go below the tech stack. Oops. Okay, and then let's also add some line height to all of this. So let's do line height 1.3 rem. That didn't change much. Let's do 1.8. 2. Perfect. This looks way more cleaner. Also, it's a bit extending too far to the right, so let's actually add some padding. So padding 0 and do 2rem 0 0. Maybe we gotta do some more. Okay. So now we gotta like move it a bit closer towards the center because we don't want to read it on for that long. So that's how we do it. And okay, I guess for now, let's just stop here and then like actually commit the changes on our branch. So we do git add space, and then we do git commit oops, added new project cards, and then we do git push origin, and then we gotta type the name of our branch. So add projects section. Perfect. And then get checkout main. We go back to the main branch, and then we gotta merge it. So now we're back on our main branch. You can see the CSS changed, the HTML changed. You can see where we're back in our main branch. This is what we have. So now you might be wondering like, oh my god, what happened? Did everything get deleted? No, you have to merge it. So you do git merge, and then you type in the name of the branch that you were just on. So projects section. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either do git merge in the name of the branch, or what you could do is you can head to GitHub and you can see this was already added. Add project section had recent pushes. So refresh this. Okay. You can do compare and pull request, and then you can see here this is what was changed. This is what was changed, what was added. This is what your senior developer would be looking at to see, okay, this is what was changed. So you can create a PR. Okay, so the PR was created, added new project cards, and then this is what your boss would be looking at right now. Okay, so Richard just like created this PR. He didn't provide a description. Do we want to merge the pull request? Um, there's multiple things you can do, but this time we are gonna merge it. So merge the PR, and then you can say like, or yeah. Okay, so you just confirm the merge, and then it's done. So then you go to your code. You can see this was added. Um, and so this does the exact same thing. So now what you want to do is you want to pull everything. So git pull origin main. Boom. And now everything's added back. We go back to here. It's all back. So now that was how you do a PR request through GitHub. Let's also do a PR, or let's do a merge through this CLI tool because you're probably going to be using that the most. So let's see here. Let's add a couple more changes. What can we do? Let's add a hover effect to the skills. Okay, so I kind of just added like a basic background color to change it. That's kind of it. We don't need to add this because we were already doing that earlier. So you can see transitioning the background color. Very simple thing you can do. And I guess we could do the same thing here. Oh, this. Let's make it black actually. You can see when I don't add the transition property, it kind of snaps to it. So you gotta add like a transition property. tell CSS how long it should take. So transition, and then you can do however long you want to do. So you can do, let's just do all, and then you gotta specify the time. How long do you want this transition? Let's do 0.3 seconds, and let's do an ease in. So add a couple hover effects. Nothing too crazy. What else do we want to add? Trying to think. I guess we can add like a basic contact form. Not a form, like just a section. So project cards. Where does this div even end? Okay. Contact form. Contact me. Let's do if you want to reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay. So this is good enough for now. Let's just restart the exact process that we did. So git add, git commit added hover effects and a contact form. Let's do section. Okay. Then we do. Actually, I just realized we're on the main branch. Okay. So here, I guess while we're at it, we're just gonna commit this. So git push origin main. Okay. So now let's create a new branch. Git checkout b contact section. Okay. So now let's add more styles to this. So I guess let's just add like a basic anchor link. So let me actually go to my own link then. Grab the link for this. View profile. Wrap the abbreviation. Anchor tag. Let's do target equals underscore blank. Let me grab my profile. Oops, I accidentally deleted it. Let's do target underscore blank. Okay. So now those are going to be our two URLs. So what we actually can do is we can say class equals contact link. Let's add that to here as well. And then let's do contact links. Let's do outline 1px solid. Let's do some padding. Okay. Then what we can do is contact links hover. Let's just make the background color turn red. Color turns white. Okay. And regardless if you think this looks good or not, I don't think it does, but this is just for changes. So, okay, we're on the contact section. So now, we're not on the main branch. What you gotta do is you gotta do git add space period git commit added styles to contact section git push origin, and then the name of the branch, so contact section. And then you want to do git checkout main to get back to the main branch. Git merge, and then the name of the section, so contact section. Perfect. Git push origin main. Okay, sweet. So now we go back to GitHub. Let's go to our repositories, student portfolio, and we can see here, add styles to contact section. This is everything that we've talked about, everything that we just added. So I think this is all. This is all you guys really need to know when it comes to using GitHub. This is all the rudimentary information. So I'm gonna end this off now. So thank you for attending. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody learned at least something in this workshop.